Hello and welcome to Hot Money on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. This is a show which gets you a complete wrap of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I'm Darshan Mehta. Let's welcome our guest on the show. Joining us today are independent technical analyst Nikhil Balejkar, Kunal Shah of Indiabulls Ventures, and Gaurav Bissa of LKP Securities. Many thanks to all of my guests for joining me. Before we begin with the show with the analyst, let's bring in Yash Upadhyay, who has a chart on Bharti Airtel. Good afternoon, Yash. What does the chart indicate?
So there's a negative call coming in on Bharti Airtel, Darshan, and let's look at the chart over here. It made a double top formation around the mark of 365, and post that we have seen some amount of weakness come in. In fact, it's down for a third consecutive trading session out of the last 4 trading sessions, and today as well it's been forming a bearish engulfing sort of a pattern on the daily time frame. Now, what I mean by the bearish engulfing pattern is where the size of the candle, today's candle, completely engulfs the one ahead of it, with it being a large red candle indicating a negative indicator for Bharti Airtel. Now, we saw a similar setup back in July of last year as well. So it made a top around the same levels yet again at 360 in the month of July last year. It came down and then it again retraced back to the mark of 360 in the month of September, making that exact same double top formation that I'm talking about, and then it corrected from those levels around 360 to as low as about 260, and then it made a full circle coming back to the levels of 360 again in the month of June and making that retracement. So a double top formation as well as a bearish engulfing pattern forming on the daily charts for Bharti Airtel, both of which are a negative indicator, so watch out for Bharti Airtel.
Okay, Bharti Airtel, thanks so much for that, Yash. Nikhil, what's your sense? Are you sensing a double top here also, and are you negative on Bharti Airtel?
Well, it is not exactly as negative as it appears to Yash, because if it crosses 360 and then it crosses 367, it can go to 380. And if it were to close about 380 on the weekly basis, it can go back to the previous high. However, it is trading in a range. As he says, right now in a very short term, it could go down and retest 330. I would advise to buy near 330 with 324 as a stop loss for an immediate target of 360 and then 380.
Okay, so you won't short at this level. No. Okay, Kunal, what's your sense? What are you sensing on Bharti Airtel?
See, the view stands same. 365 is a very crucial resistance which the stock is facing in the near term. So as long as 365 is not crossed on the upside, I don't see significant upside coming into the stock. At the current juncture, even I would not go for a sell because I have still not got a confirmation on the sell side. So 345 is a crucial level which I'll be watching for Bharti Airtel. If it breaches those levels, that is the previous week low, then I'll go for a sell and look for targets of 320 on the downside. So at the moment, I think no trade for Bharti Airtel at the current level. If you want to go on the short side, it should be below 345.
Okay, what's your sense, Gaurav, on Bharti Airtel?
So if you look at the chart that you displayed on your screen, the wonderful screen, it has been trading in a rising channel. It gave a small breakout sort of, and now it's trying to again correct from those levels. So for me, as long as it's trading above levels of 345, things are not going to be too bad. But yes, as Yash mentioned, that there is a early sense of double top formation, so I would not be selling at the current levels of 355. Probably a jump towards 360, 362. One can sell, keep a stop of 367 on downside. 348 is what I would be expecting. But a very steep fall right now does not look very steep. And also, whenever you are selling something, be very sure that you are selling something very high beta. This is not a very high beta name, and this being a part of Nifty index, I don't think it's going to move too much. It's been trading in a range lately, so I don't think it's a strong sell, but on higher levels, one can probably start initiating a short.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Bharti Airtel. Pretty much at this level, a no trade zone. You'll have to watch out for lower levels or higher levels if you want to buy or short the counter. But let's begin with our analyst, the first chart today, and that is from Nikhil, and that's on Bajaj Auto. Nikhil, if you can join me, let's have the chart. Why are you negative on Bajaj Auto?
Well, Bajaj Auto has actually formed a very large bearish pattern of a head and shoulder over here.
Okay, this is the head.
Yeah, and it has given a breakdown already.
Okay.
And the breakdown target, that is the pattern target for this itself, comes to around about 2,550. In the immediate short term, if you see the oscillators, they are showing that it might move up. So I would suggest to short Bajaj Auto only on a slight rally of about 2,750.
Okay.
With a stop loss at 2,828.
Okay.
And a target of around 2,540. And on the weekly chart, if there's a weekly chart, yeah, if you see this, there was a bullish pattern here, which is the opposite of the bearish pattern, a reverse head and shoulder. And it had a neckline over here. It gave a breakout and then it failed. So when there is a failure of a bullish pattern, normally what happens is it will seek a lower level and come back to the base from where the bullish pattern started. So the another target is 2420.
Okay,
So I'm actually looking at a target of 2549 and 2420 on a longer term basis. This is corroborated by the Ichimoku chart because it is
Can you
almost
explain
breaking the
this
cloud.
Ichimoku chart? What are you trying to show here?
So here again the same thing, that it is, if you see the daily chart, it is already below the cloud. Here it is almost breaking the cloud. Once it breaks the cloud and this red line is below the green line, which is equivalent to a longer or the shorter moving average being below a longer moving average. So it's already given a crossover on the downside. And once it breaks the cloud, these will all act as resistances whenever it goes up. So actually these can also be a trailing stop as you come down.
So this 2550, is it a short-term target, or you think it will be more of a positional call?
No. Short term. It might go up towards 2550 and then start coming down again.
2800 something that you said.
No,
You're-
2800 is my stop loss.
Yeah.
I'm saying short it near 2550.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
2750, sorry.
Okay. So no, you said your target is 2550.
Correct. That should
So I'm
come-
asking, is that a short-term target or a positional target?
Well, it should come in either in the July or the August series.
Okay, that's the view. Thank you so much for that. Kunal, what's your view on Bajaj Auto? Will you short Bajaj Auto or would you go contra and long it?
See, overall, if you look at the auto sector, definitely the trend has been down in the near term. Every auto pack, if you look at, definitely looks weak on the chart. At the current juncture, I would not initiate a fresh sell, but overall the trend is definitely on the sell side. So any bounce into the stock towards the levels of 2800 kind of a zone, then that would be a good sell with a stop loss of 2850 on the upside. So wait for a bounce towards those levels, 28 kind of a zone. Even 2800, even if you see on the option front data, there is call writing happening at those levels. So definitely again much more confirmation coming at those levels. So overall the trend is weak. 2800 could be a good sell level where you can sell with a stop loss of 2850 for downside targets of 2700 to 2650.
Where are the call writing happening? Which levels approximately you see?
So 2800 is the call where we are seeing some kind of fresh call writing that is happening at those levels. Even on the weekly chart, the stock is definitely looking weak. So as long as 2800 is not crossed decisively and closed above on a weekly basis, don't expect a trend reversal into the stock. So as long as 2800 is hold, you can see further downside into the stock.
Okay, Gaurav, you also track the F&O space closely. On both technical side and F&O side, what's the trend that you are spotting here? Is it a weak trend?
Well, if you look at last few months, auto names have been on the forefront when it comes to short selling. Consistent shorts, decent rollovers, and they have been breaking multiple support levels. So yes, it's a weak stock, but I would not be shorting at these levels. As my friend said over here, that current levels risk was not that favorable. Any jump towards 2800, 2020, that can be utilized. There are two reasons for that. One, if you look at the monthly charts, there's a trend line support that comes on level of 2600, 2650. On multiple occasions, we have seen in recent past also where it has bounced back strongly from those levels. So just to have a better risk reward, I think it is sell on rise candidate. There's nothing wrong with having a sell view. But for timing, I think there can be some bounce back coming in the auto names. If you look at the auto index as well, there can also see a minor bounce back also in next few trading sessions. So that can be used as a shorting opportunity, not at the current prices.
Okay, that's the view. I think the consensus view is short this counter once it starts moving higher, but I think the consensus view is that it's not a bullish call at this point of time. There is a more possibility that the counter could slide in even lower. The next chart is from Kunal and it's on Federal Bank. Kunal, if we can have you, let's have the chart. What exactly is, I believe it's a bullish call, right?
Yeah. So basically, if you see at the long-term chart, this is a monthly chart of Federal Bank. It is in a rising upward channel where the stock is. Even at these levels, the stock has formed multiple bullish pattern. There's a bullish engulfing that has formed out here. There's a morning star pattern that has formed out here. Again, the stock has given a fresh breakout. So the trend has been very strong throughout, and it is in a rising upward channel. So at the current juncture, and even with the MACD, if you see on the downside, there is on the monthly chart, there is a golden crossover that has happened out here. So when such kind of bullish pattern formation happens on a monthly chart, the stock is likely to see some good upside in the near term. So at the current levels, the stock looks good for an fresh buy. Yes, definitely the stock has seen some upside in the near term. So my idea and sense is around 105 to 102 could be the range where the stock can see some kind of buying coming into the stock, and we can see upside levels of 122 to 130 on the upside. If you can do the daily chart, which I have done, so even on the daily chart, you see this is again a rising trend line that is supporting the stock, and there is a gap that had the stock had formed around the levels of 100. So you might see some kind of dip coming even towards the levels of 100, but that is a good buying opportunity, which is again coinciding with the trend line support. So as long as this support is held, 100 could be a good range to buy, but since the formation is so bullish, even you might not see that 100 coming into the picture. So start accumulating at the current levels. Even if it comes towards the levels of 100, you can still buy, average it out, and you can keep a stop loss of 92 on the downside, which is the weekly close of the stock. And with a stop loss of 92, you can look for targets of 122 to 130, which is on the monthly chart, which is the rising upward channel where the approach of the target comes into the picture.
So what's the time frame? You're saying levels of 120, 130?
So this is basically a 1 to 2 month time frame I am giving it. Since the stock has seen a sharp rise in the recent past, you might see some kind of consolidation, but overall the trend looks very bullish, and with the golden MACD crossover, the stock is likely to hit towards the levels of 122 to 130, which is even the fresh high for the stock.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Kunal. Gaurav, would you be bullish on Federal Bank?
Well, if you, this is the setup that we had discussed last time when we came here. There's a couple of things here. Things that we discussed, that there's a bearish formation happening on the harmonic side on weekly charts around 110. Now that has already met the targets, but the point is that there's a psychological resistance that we are seeing at 110. When you see the daily charts, you see a early sense of double top formation happening at those levels. 100 is where we are seeing good amount of writing happening in the put option. It has the highest concentration on the put side, and the highest concentration on the call side is seen at 110 levels. So for me, there are two data points. Either you buy on dip towards 101, 102, keep a 4-5 rupees stop loss and you play for higher targets, or you wait for a breakout of levels of 110, in which case the targets that he mentioned of 120 and above can be easily achieved. But for that you need to wait. Do not anticipate. Buy above 110. Keep a stop loss of 104, 120, 122 is what I would be playing. At the current juncture, I don't think it garners a buy or a sell, as it's stuck in a very strong range.
What level would you buy? 100?
Around 101, 102 is a good level to buy, or you buy above the breakout levels of 110.
Okay. What's your sense, Nikhil?
I completely agree with him. It's in a range between 100 and 110. Accumulation near 100. Stop loss a close below 100, because it is actually more bullish on the longer term charts. And it's stuck in this range since 100 and 110 since a long time. So unless it gives a demonstrable breakout with good volume and on a closing basis over 110, it's probably not moving up in the near future.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Federal Bank. Range-bound trade, buy at lower levels, but the trend certainly seems to be on the positive side. The next chart is from Gaurav Bisa, and it's on Wipro. Wipro today has not been doing well. I think it has a buyback that is also there, and with what happened in the budget and KPR Mills withdrawing the buyback, I think there could be a little bit of overhang. But what's your sense on?
Well, if you look at the slightly stretched chart, this particular yellow line, this is the consolidation that we saw in the name. We saw a breakout sort of happening. Now it retested the breakout levels, it has again jumped back, and again it's trying to retest the breakout levels. So a stock that is in a strong trend, after consolidation, retesting the breakout levels, that's a positive sign. One. Second, we call it as a bullish harmonic pattern. This is a bullish shark pattern, and it will get triggered. It has already get triggered at 260 odd levels. So again, that's a positive sign that whenever these ratios match, we see a small reversal sort of happening. Again, if you look at the kind of move here, 250 to 60 has been adding decent amount of put additions. So there's a chance that if it sustains these levels, a decent jump towards 280 and a little bit higher levels can be expected. There is a strong resistance at 300, but overall 280 is what I would be expecting. Keep a small stop loss of 10-12 rupees and buy it for next 3 or 4 days. Also, the third point, if you look at the Nifty IT chart, I don't know if you can show over here, but if you look at the IT chart, that is also forming a bullish harmonic pattern. We call it as a bullish AB equals CD pattern. So overall, many of the IT names are looking good, whether it's TCS or Tech Mahindra. This particular has just triggered the pattern, so this is looking more lucrative.
Okay, what's the ultimate target that you're looking at? 280?
280 is what I would be looking. There's a strong resistance at 300 mark. So fresh, longer term breakouts, only about that. For immediate target of 280, one can
buy. Start buying at this level.
Yeah, you can buy at the current levels.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Gaurav. Nikhil, what's your sense on Wipro? Would you be a buyer?
Well, actually, I don't completely agree, because I feel that this stock is in a strongly bearish mode.
Okay.
It had made a double top around about 300, and it broke the range between 300 and 275. So the pattern target itself for this has not been achieved, which is 250. And if you see the charts overall, it gives like a rising pennant pattern, which is a bearish pattern. I feel that the stock has topped out at 300, and actually it is a sell on every rise towards 275 with a close about 280 as a stop loss. And if it breaks 250, it will come down further. So I feel that actually you should be shorting the stock. rather than buying it.
Okay, so we have a anti-consensus. We have two different views that are coming in. One buy, one sell. Kunal, which side are you on?
See, overall, if I talk about the IT sector in the last couple of days, we have seen some kind of selling pressure that has been coming into the sector. Looking at the Wipro chart at the current juncture, definitely it is trading near a support of 260. So as long as 260 is not breached on the downside, this could act as a pullback even towards the levels of 275 kind of a zone. So I mean, overall the trend is still not positive, but one can definitely play for a pullback towards the levels of 275 kind of a zone. So I would definitely not short at the current level since the risk reward is not favorable and it is trading near the support zone. But even I don't see much bullishness into the stock in the near term. So one can definitely play for a pullback towards the levels of 275 with a stop loss of 258 on the downside.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in. Three different views, but Kunal is slightly more inclined towards the bullish side on Wipro. Let's begin with the second round of chart, and Nikhil has a chart on Eicher Motors. Let's pull up the chart and see what exactly is doing. Autos, as a pack, is not doing well. Again,
Again, the same thing in Eicher Motor also. A large bearish pattern has given a breakdown. So the breakdown level was 19,400 approximately at that level, and this is a large head and shoulder pattern. I think not able to make out here with the yes, here. This whole pattern is been broken down over here.
okay.
If you see the weekly chart also, there is a smaller head and shoulder pattern which has given a breakdown. So both these patterns, the pattern target for the weekly chart is around 16,700.
Okay.
And for the daily chart, it is around 15,500. Also, if you can see, it is trading well below the cloud. By the way, even in case of Wipro, in the Ichimoku chart, it is trading well below the cloud, which is a very bearish sign. So this Ichimoku actually gives you a very good, very easy indication as to whether it is bearish or whether it is bullish, whether you sell on rally or whether you buy on dips. So this Eicher Motor is definitely a sell on rally.
Till what level would you short? What's the level at?
Right now, if you see, again, the oscillators are showing a slight uptick. So it is probably likely to go near 19,100 to 200. With 19,400 as a stop loss, I would like to short this any rise towards 19,200 for a target of at least 16,700 and then 15,500 on the longer term period.
This would take how many months?
Again, falls are very fast, so I don't think it should take long, maybe by end of August.
Okay,
because I'm bearish on the Nifty as well.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Eicher. Thanks so much for that. Kunal, what's your view on Eicher Motors? Are you negative?
Yeah, see, overall, definitely the trend looks weak. But even if you look at the weekly charts, in the previous past, there has been some bullish formation on the charts. Hammer formation has been formed in the previous past. So these are now a bullish support that are coming for the stock at those levels. The stocks need to decisively breach below the level of 19,000, which it is already trading. So at the current juncture, definitely 19,000, 19,100 is a stiff resistance for the stock in the near term. Use rallies again to sell the stock. 19,300 would be an ideal stop loss on the upside. If that is breached out, you might see a trend reversal coming into the stock. But at the current juncture, the setup definitely looks weak. Use rallies to sell. 19,300 to be an ideal stop loss. And if on the downside 18,500 is breached, you can see some sharp fall towards the levels of 18,000.
Okay, Gaurav, what's your sense? Are you also negative?
I am, but I'm not very aggressively negative for the reason that if you look at the RSI, we are seeing some amount of positive divergence on weekly charts. That has been the case in the Nifty Auto Index as well. But for now, I think, as you mentioned, 18,500, 18,600 is the immediate support. There can be some rallies if you intend to short at higher levels. But I don't see a very steep fall. I would rather sell below levels of 18,400 and then play for lower targets. I would not like to sell on rise for the reason that it becomes very difficult. One, to reach those levels, and second, it might take again a little bit more time. If you look at the fall, last 3 or 4 weeks, the fall has not been very significantly fast. It has been more of a consolidation and then falling down. So I think I would short only below levels of 18,400.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Eicher Motors. Kunal's second chart is on Apollo Hospitals. Kunal, if you can come in, let's have the chart also and see what exactly, why are you bullish?
See, overall, if I talk about the long-term chart, this was the point from where the stock had seen some bad news and we had seen some fall. And then the stock was in a consolidation range for a very brief period. Now, when you see at the upper end, the stock has given a fresh breakout from those levels, and now it is in a consolidation phase. Even if you look at the stock, there are multiple bullish patterns that are forming out on the daily front at those levels, as well as even if you see on the downside, the MACD is also giving a bullish pattern. You're seeing a rising channel that is coming into the MACD, and if there is a crossover that will eventually come, we will see some sharp rally in the stock on the upside. So even the stock has moved significantly today. On the upside, it is up by 3.5–4%. But even if you look, 1400 to be an immediate target where I see Apollo Hospital coming in the very near term. So even at the current levels or at any dip towards 1350, 1345 kind of a zone, you can definitely look to initiate fresh long. The stop loss would be 1315 on the downside. That is somewhere close to today's low. Since the candle that has formed has been very bullish and has breached the past 4 days high, you can see some significant upside and the momentum has started building up into the stock. So 1400 would be an immediate target on the upside, and even if that is crossed, we can see even the stock going towards the levels of 1500 kind of a zone. So overall, yes, definitely the setup is bullish. For a 1 to 2 week perspective on a horizon, one can definitely look to long on Apollo Hospital at the current level.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Kunal. Nikhil, what's your sense on Apollo Hospital?
I agree that it is a bullish stock. Only thing is that in the immediate short term, if 1305 were to break, it might retest the breakout point of 1270. So I would have to wait and see whether it comes down, but buy every dip with a stop loss of close below 1270 for a much higher target of over 1400.
Okay, Gaurav, what's your sense?
I would wait for a dip, would not buy here for the reason that 1400 is acting to be a Achilles heel. It's trying to cross those levels, but being failed to do so. So you place any buying bets towards 1310, 1315, keep a stop loss of 1280, and then you play for 1380 to 1400 kind of targets, or you buy above the breakout levels. So at the current juncture, we might see some more consolidation happening. To have a better risk reward, nothing wrong with this stock. To have a better risk reward, I think buying on dips would make more sense.
Okay, buying on dips, I think the consensus view is on the bullish side, and the final chart from our analyst is from Gaurav, and it's on Indraprastha Gas. Let's pull up the chart and see what exactly it is doing and what is the recommendation. So it seems like a bullish trend that Gaurav has pointed out. You explain the chart, Gaurav.
Yeah. So there are 2 or 3 positives that we are talking over here. I would not talk about the harmonics first. If you just can expand this chart, this particular circle that I have marked over here, we call it as a morning star, doji morning star, doji, however you name it. That's a reversal pattern. It has formed after a fall. Right, it has not seen a consolidation. It has arrested the fall with a morning star. These are reversal patterns. If you look at the volume also, if you can place the volumes, you will see the volumes over here are a little bit higher. And so that again is a positive. If you look at the MACD, if you can have the MACD over here, we have seen a bullish crossover happening on this side also. On the verge, but we are about to see a bullish crossover happening this side also. This is a second positive. Now if you go back to the chart, this particular lines, this again is a bullish harmonic. We call it the AB equals CD. The fall of here and the fall of CD is the same in terms of ratio. It's the same. The number of candles, they are almost the same. So this is one of the more perfect bullish AB equals CD pattern. This is the ratio is 0.2 is to 2, 0.5 is to 2. So there are 3 or 4 positives that we are looking over here. So one can buy here, have some dips of 304, 305 that can also be bought. Stop loss would be 298. On the upside levels of 325 is what I would be expecting in next 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, it's a short-term target that you're looking at. Thanks so much for that. IGL, what's your sense, Kunal?
See, overall, definitely I'll be on the buy side. The stock has been forming some kind of bottom formation around the levels of 296, 297 kind of a zone. So the risk reward is definitely on the buy side at the current levels. One can definitely look to buy at the current levels with a stop loss of 297 for targets of 325 to 330 on the upside. I don't see major upside coming into the stock in the near term, but yes, at the current juncture, if you tell me, I will definitely be a buyer.
Okay, and what's your sense?
It has got multiple resistance between 315 and 320.
Okay.
Wait for a dip towards 275 to buy, because if it breaks 300, it will come there. And then you can buy, and it's in a range between 275 and 325.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on IGL. And before we end the show, Yash has a chart on Max Financial. Yash.
So it's a conditional buy coming in on Max Financial. Now we're using the trender indicator for the purpose of this. The trender line, which is the red line over here, that stands at the mark of 428. The stock is up currently. It is above the mark of the trender line. It's quoting at about 429 at the moment. As the condition stands, should it manage to close above the mark of 428, which is where the red trender line is, it will flip its color from red to green. And historically, as we've seen, every time that the trender has managed to flip its color from green to red or from red to green. It has given a rally on either side. In particular, when it just changed its color from red to green, the stock on an average over the next 1 month period has managed to go up by close to 6.5 to 7% odd. So watch out for Max Financial on the back of the trender indicator.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in. 430. What's your sense on Max?
Agree with him. It's forming a reverse head and shoulder bullish pattern. Once it closes above 615, there's another 100 rupees upside.
Okay, and what about you, Kunal?
Definitely it is on the buy side. Even on the daily chart, if you draw a trend line, it has breached the trend line resistance of 425. So we can see some sharp upside coming into the stock towards the levels of 440, 450, 445.
Okay.
So definitely a buy at the current.
Okay, so one more buy coming in. Gaurav, would that be a third buy?
It would be, but I would use declines. It's already seen a bounce back today. So, and there's a resistance that we see at levels of 440. So, to have a better risk reward, it would be better that if we buy on dips towards 415, 420, keep a stop loss of 405. On the upside, 440 is what I would be expecting, but I would buy on dips, not at the current prices.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Max Financial. But with that, it's a wrap on today's edition of Hot Money. Let me thank all my guests for coming in. Nikhil, Kunal, and Gaurav, thank you so much for coming in today. Ask BQ comes up next. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.